Sarah was a dusky-complexioned girl of an age that could not be clearly defined, neither too young nor too mature, yet irresistibly captivating. Her long hair flowed down to her calves, something she cherished deeply. She had never tied her hair, despite her mother's repeated attempts to persuade her. Sarah would always laugh softly and dismiss the idea with affection. Her large, spellbinding eyes carried a mysterious charm. One glance was enough to trap a person in their depth. Her dusky complexion held a unique salt-tinged fragrance, something that set her apart from other girls. It was her habit to bathe every evening and then go up to the rooftop at sunset, letting her hair loose in the open air. Time passes quickly, but beauty seems to make it rush even faster. Soon enough, Sarah reached the age where discussions of her marriage began. And one day, her wedding was finally arranged. From the moment her marriage was fixed, a strange glow began to appear on her face, growing more intense with each passing day. Eventually, the wedding day arrived, the house filled with the chaos and excitement of wedding preparations. Yet, despite everything, Sarah's routine of going to the rooftop in the evenings remained unchanged. On the night of the Mendi, she was applied with Ubtan, and because of the constant activity, she never got a chance to go upstairs that day. Restlessness consumed her. She felt as though someone was softly calling her from far away, a voice rising from the depths of a dark well. There was an unexplainable pull in that voice, one that made her heart heavy and her mood unbearably sorrowful. Without realizing it, Sarah began walking toward the stairs. The house was crowded with guests, so no one noticed her absence. It was a bitterly cold winter night. Later, when her sisters went up to the rooftop store to collect bedding for the guests, a piercing scream echoed through the house. Sarah lay unconscious on the rooftop. Panic spread instantly. Matters worsened when her hands and feet twisted unnaturally. Her mother immediately began reciting Ayat al-Kursi. Slowly, by the blessing of the Quranic verses, Sarah regained consciousness and soon fell into a deep sleep. Fear lingered heavily in the house. Everyone looked anxious, yet no one could understand what had happened. A doctor examined her and declared her completely healthy. After the wedding, Sarah moved with her husband Salim to another city. Their new home stood on the outskirts, in a sparsely populated area. The house was old, 2 stories tall, its walls carrying the silent testimony of a bygone grandeur. There were only 4 houses nearby. In front lay an open field, and about 600 steps away stood a small graveyard with barely a dozen graves. Adjacent to it was another enclosed cemetery belonging to a different sect. Sarah's room was on the upper floor. Outside her window stood a tall tree whose branches rose higher than the roof itself, always looming in front of her. Even before marriage, Sarah had a troubling habit. She would sometimes wake up screaming in her sleep. This continued after marriage. The in-laws dismissed it as common nightmares until one night when the situation turned serious. Sarah woke up screaming, and so did Salim. The entire household rushed into their room. While Sarah's condition was familiar, Salim's reaction was not. He sat hunched on the bed, clutching his lower back in pain. When his shirt was lifted, large bluish handprints were visible on his waist, as if someone with enormous fingers had struck him forcefully. No one could explain it. Salim, a practical man, struggled between 2 possibilities. Either some unseen entity was involved, or Sarah in her sleep had unknowingly struck him. Before returning to Dubai, Salim decided to take Sarah on a honeymoon, first to Lahore, then Murray. In Lahore, Sarah was deeply fascinated by historical monuments, especially the Lahore Fort and Badshahi Mosque. Seeing her interest, Salim's relatives decided to take them to Shalimar Gardens and the tomb of Jahangir. When they reached Jahangir's tomb in Shadara, the place felt deserted. Few people were around, and an unsettling silence hung in the air. From the moment they arrived, Sarah began feeling strange, but she told no one. While Salim went to pray with his cousin, Sarah sat on a corner of the ancient brick floor. Lost in thought, she rested her chin on her hand. Suddenly, a young Maling appeared before her. He looked about 12 or 13 years old, dressed in a faded yellow cloth, a torn cloak over his shoulders, and colorful beads around his neck. His eyes glowed unnaturally red. Instead of begging, he stood silently, staring at her. Sira turned away, ignoring him. But he moved and stood directly in front of her again. Without saying a word, he stretched his hand out. She refused gently. Yet he did not leave. Instead, he sat on the grass nearby and continued staring at her. Saira loved children, but something about this boy terrified her. His gaze made her shrink inward. Suddenly, the boy leapt up and touched her feet. The moment he did, he began dancing wildly, lost in a trance, performing a demal as if possessed. At the same time, Sarah felt her body grow unbearably heavy, as though her existence itself was sinking. Strong winds began to howl. Trees creaked. Walls whistled. Salim called out to her repeatedly. But she did not respond. Her eyes were locked onto the dancing child. When Salim tried to stop the boy and failed, he struck him hard across the face. The boy instantly fled behind a nearby tomb and vanished. As soon as the dance stopped, the wind died down. An eerie silence fell over the place.